So, for those of you who don't know, classic screens within your Epicor ERP will be faded out with the 2026.1 update expected in May of 2026, which means users will be forced to migrate to Kinetic screens, which are web-based. Yesterday, ZacK hosted a webinar on this topic, which, did you see we had 125 live attendees?
Yeah, I think there might have been one other higher one, but yeah, I know it was a big group.
That's very impressive. Anyway, one of the big takeaways from yesterday was regarding what tools are available to users, whether they're on-prem or a SaaS client, to figure out their customizations and if action is needed. And I think this is super important to reiterate, as this kind of what sets the stage for how intense their transition process will be.
Right, yeah, because we're going to have to look at this like almost a re-implementation project in some respects, depending on which version people are coming from and how deeply embedded they are with their classic screen customization. So yesterday's topic really focused on, how do I get started? What are the tools available to me to start looking at the workload we have ahead in the next year and a couple months coming up. So, and luckily, we've been doing this for a couple years now. Especially with some of our on-prem customers, they have a little more control over what version they're on and when they can upgrade. And they're also typically the people that are going to have the most customizations because they might be coming from, Epicor 10 or E9 or even Vantage in some cases earlier than that, and they've really built up their system on this .NET platform. So we tried to help the customers of ours that we know are going to have a lot of these things. So we've seen it throughout the years. So that's what we'd like to talk about today, though, is what are the next steps then after we've done the initial evaluation of our classic screen and customization.
Okay, yeah, and I know this is going to be kind of challenging with not being able to showcase the screens like you did yesterday on the webinar, but you did call out 2 specific tools, and I think each of them were towards if you were on-prem or SaaS.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. So the tool we focused on initially was the unique business component dashboard. So that's available to our SaaS customers. And reason being is that's a quick way to see all your customizations for every pilot upgrade. SaaS customers are getting twice a year for major releases. It's not on the typical on-prem install at this point. An alternative to that we didn't talk about yesterday is we can run what's called the ERP Analyzer tool, and that does a full audit of all customizations as well, and that gets presented back as a spreadsheet report. So it's a lot of the same information. So on-prem, it's going to be that ERP Analyzer tool. SaaS, it's going to be the unique business component dashboard. 2WTech also has, some dashboards that we've self-made that replicate the unique business component dashboard for the most part. So plenty of options for getting that initial analysis done now. And then the second part of that was the activity tracking features that are available both in on-prem and SaaS clients. For on-prem, you probably got to be in a newer release. I think it came out in the 2023 release, but again, available to both on-prem and SaaS users. And that activity tracking tool, that's what we showed. You can turn on logging, and you can see which screens are being used, reports are being used, who's using them, how often are they being used. So that's the other side of the evaluation process.
And that's for the purpose of seeing which screens are worth bringing over to Kinetic?
Right, because you might get a list of 100 screens on your unique business component dashboard, and maybe some of that stuff was made 15 years ago.
Gotcha, yep.
And you're not even using it anymore. No one's really sure what it does, who's using it.
Okay. And then I think we got this question yesterday, but people were asking about if there are any dashboards or reports that won't be able to be transitioned into Kinetic altogether.
The answer should be no. As long as the dashboards or reports are made with standard tools within the Epicor ecosystem, everything should be transitional to Kinetic. There might be some things that require some more tinkering and some more work, but everything should transition.
A lot of people asked about their specific dashboards, and Sam kept responding with, it depends on the specifics. It depends on the specifics. I need to know more. So can you quickly speak to why each individual form or dashboard is different and it's best to reach out to someone for support instead of waiting until the last minute?
Yeah, and sometimes terms get generalized too much too. So you may have a dashboard that's built off of a BAQ SQL query. And from that dashboard, you launch the menu item that also has a screen customization placed on top of it that adds additional functionality to that dashboard. Or maybe it's publishing and subscribing to other screens. So until we can look under the hood, so to speak, we can't say anything for certainty. But for the most part, everyone's got standard dashboards. They built the BAQ. They made a dashboard for user interface. And that process should be standard 90% of the time.
So after someone pulls up all their customizations and is able to figure out what needs to be done per those specific dashboards, what are the next steps? What comes after that to actually get to the final deployment?
Yeah, so what we've done at 2W Tech and these projects with our customers is we'll evaluate these lists, with their internal development or the IT staff or power users or subject matter experts. We usually try to then take those screens and prioritize them by how critical they are to business functions. So if you have a highly customized sales order entry screen, that's usually a top priority screen. We want to make sure everything works. We can still enter orders the same way. So we'll prioritize the work that needs to be done.
Okay.
From there, it can change. It depends on each individual company's internal skill level and what they want to utilize 2W Tech for. A lot of times, what we're doing is, we'll take that priority list, and 2W Tech is going to start the bulk of that work. We're going to start comparing the classic screen and building a new Kinetic screen from the ground up, identifying, is anything not normal here? Did they implement some kind of strange code in the screen that changed the base process somehow? And then we'll have a conversation about that and decide, are we going forward with that still? Can we move that somewhere else in the logic? Is that causing issues with the classic screen today? Is that making things go slower? So it really opens up an opportunity for companies to just reevaluate what the system does for them and what they want it to do for them. So it's almost like a re-implementation project where we're testing the process and then making the customization to see what we need.
So does cleaning up of the environment increase speed or anything like that? Will they see any different in functionality when going to Kinetic, and if they drop like half of the tools or screens that they aren't using?
So especially within screens themselves. So, and we'll see that. We'll see that so much customization has been layered on a particular screen. We'll talk about sales order entry again. End users might have been normalized to hitting save and it taking 30 seconds to a minute for that save to complete. Well, that's likely just due to inefficient code or things that have been upgraded so many times throughout the years that it's just not optimized. So again, we have a fresh start to remake these things and make sure it's working as intended. Kinetic UI in general, even without customization, again, we've taken a lot of that server-side logic that was kind of intermixed with classic screens, and it's all on the server. So the processing power is all on the server. That's what allows us to run Kinetic in a web browser. And that opens things up to all sorts of benefits. So once we can run in a web browser, we can start running on tablets. We can start running on other smartphones in some cases. Kinetic screens, there's scalability options, so we can optimize screens for tablets or phones. With classic screens, mobile devices a lot of times were limited to Surface Pros or stationary desktop devices on the shop floor. We can run from the browser now. So you can deploy Epicor to end users with low-cost tablets.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of my questions is like, why? I know yesterday you talked a lot about security and the security benefits, but I knew that there had to be more to it for them to push something this extensive out there to all their users.
Things are just becoming more interconnected all around in people's systems. So once you have a web-based software like this, you can start utilizing APIs and integrating other softwares with your Kinetic much more easily than you could from a classic deployment.
So you said it was almost like a mini re-implementation. From a timeline standpoint, I know implementations can take a year, sometimes even longer than that. What's the range of timeline you've seen?
A few months to a year plus, and a lot of it's just pacing, and what's the urgency to it. So the earlier some of our on-prem customers got the jump on this, the longer we can make that timeline, because we can kind of make a couple of screens, have users test it, make adjustments as needed, have them retest, and there's no urgency to it yet because they still have access to both the Classic and the Kinetic. The closer we get to that 2026 deadline, more urgent that's going to be for a lot of people. How it's not like a re-implementation is we don't have to evaluate data. We don't have to evaluate part numbers and customer setup. And the core functionality of the software is the same. How we do want to treat it like a re-implementation, though, is reevaluating those processes, like I said. I recommend before we even start converting any classic screen customizations, have users use the new Kinetic screens. Give them a test environment, or create special menu items within your live environment, subject matter experts to compare as they're making entries in Classic. How does this compare to doing it in Kinetic? Because they might find that just the base usability of Kinetic eliminates the need for a lot of customization. And it might expose needs for new customization too. So it's not just a coding project, it's a user project. Users should become familiar with the interface and give their feedback on what enhancements are needed.
So tell me again, what happens if someone doesn't make this transition and the 2026.1 update comes out?
So for on-prem customers, it's a little lower stakes. Okay, they control their release schedule, so they'll still have an on-prem install. They'll still have the smart client. They can still access their classic screens. SaaS clients, however, the smart client is no longer going to be deployed. So the only way to access the software is going to be via their web browser. So if something only exists in Classic come 2026, they're not going to have access to that anymore.
So for someone in your position, does that make you nervous that all of our clients are going to wait till the last minute and you're just going to get bombarded with projects on projects? Or do you have faith? Do you have faith that everyone will start thinking about it when they should, which is now, and get ahead of it so everyone can schedule resources and get ready before that update actually goes live?
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get ahead of it with our existing customer base already. So, we have pretty well established relationships with customers that we've been working with for years or done their implementation project for. So we have internal knowledge of the scope of work that's going to be required for certain customers. Because the SaaS product has really been the key product being pushed out by Epicor in the last 3, 4, 5 years. That's a lot of the SaaS customers are already mostly Kinetic already. So the bigger projects will tend to be those on-prem customers that have had 10 plus years of .NET screens. We know what's coming. We'll see what the flood looks like.
Okay. That's fair. Do you, Sam, know what topic you guys would talk about next if you were to do another webinar in the future?
It might be a bigger emphasis on that process testing I was talking about.
Yep.
Just how do you start getting people using the Kinetic screens and not worry about the customization part? I'd assume there's a lot of interest in diving deeper on Application Studio.
Now, this is just for my knowledge because I have no idea. Is Application Studio, is that a whole new software that's implemented with Kinetic, or was that?
That's their internal UI design tool.
Okay.
So you customize any screen in Kinetic, you're opening it through Application Studio. It's built off of a version of JavaScript, but it's a tool set that's been specialized for the Epicor screens.
Okay, that makes sense.
My wife wanted to know if we were going to talk about any true crime stuff or
I wish.
Bacon Cabbage or
Yeah.
She's Edge.
2W conversations after hours. All crime.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, Zach, thank you for calling in and doing 2 media productions back to back. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, Danielle, for talking with me today, and thanks for everyone for listening to the podcast.
If you're interested in watching the full webinar, we highly recommend it. It's on our YouTube channel and on our website on the resources page. I'll also link it in the description below. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time.